What is going on, guys? Dublar here with the first in a series of in-depth build guides for Diablo 3's Season 10 Patch 2.5.0. In this guide, I'll be covering the Lightning Hydra Wizard build, which just recently emerged with this patch. The new changes allow for pets to proc the damage bonus of the Mantled Heal Ring, which results in some crazy single target damage. This is a really cool build that I have a lot of fun playing. This will likely fit right into the middle of the current meta builds for solo players and will be one of the go-to to fill the DPS role in Team Greater Rifts. This build is not as fast as the speed farming Lightning Archon Wizard or as strong as the COE Wizard, but it'll help bridge the gap between the two. This basically makes it the go-to build for GRs around 90. The other main benefit to this build is that it is only a few pieces different from the current top builds, so gearing should be really easy. So getting into the actual build itself, I'm not going to go into every single gear item or skill. I'll link the full build guide below, but I'll cover some of the more important aspects. So first off, this build uses the bonuses from the 6-piece Tau set and the 4-piece Veer set. The Tau set gives you resistance buffs as well as a 750% damage bonus per stack up to 4 stacks. The Veer set gives you mobility, as well as attack speed, armor, and resistance buffs with every single Archon stack. Because of how much this adds to the build, it's important to understand the exact mechanics of how this works. So for Tau stacks, you want to make sure that you cast an elemental skill and then follow it up with a separate elemental skill before the timer runs out. So as an example, if I cast a Lightning Hydra, I'll have a single Tau stack. I can follow that up with a separate elemental skill, in this case Ray of Frost, and that'll give me a second one. Now I can cast a third spell, it'll give me my third one, and then I pop into Archon. We want to make sure that when we enter Archon, we're gaining our 4th Tau stack, because this is going to give us the most damage possible. Now this other stack here is our Archon stack, and this is what contributes to Veers. We gain these stacks by killing anything. One monster equals 1 stack, so we want to kill as much as we can while we're in Archon so we can contribute to that. Once we leave Archon, we're going to have 20 seconds of stacks left, which aids to our ability to survive, and that's a consequence of having the Swami. We'll get to that in a second. So moving back to the gear, there are a few pieces of gear that we want to try to roll for because they offer better bonuses over other gear. One of those is the Taos chest. The Taos chest can roll an increase of 7% attack speed, so it makes it the preferred item for this slot. Other items, like the shoulders, boots, and Ami, can only be rolled for their respective set, so they're the only ones that we're looking for. Now, bracers are a flexible part of the build. We can really choose anything, but I would suggest something like Ashnagar's Blood Bracers because they give you a shield buff, or Ancient Parthan Defenders because of the damage reduction, or even NEMs because they're going to speed up our GRs. As for the cube, we're going to choose the lower of our rolled items between these. So for the weapon, we want to choose between the Serpent Sparker, which is going to give us an extra Hydra, or the Starfire. For the armor slot, we're going to choose between Fazul's Improbable Chain and the Swami. And for the jewelry slot, we're going to choose between Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, Mantled Heal, and Ring of Royal Grandeur. So moving on into skills. There is a little bit of room for adjustment here, which we'll address in a second, but we want to try to choose a combination of the following. Hydra Lightning Hydra is going to be one of your main sources of damage. It's going to add a stack to Taos, but it's also going to proc Mantled Heal. Ray of Frost is a good choice for the cold skill, and the specific room is one where we can choose separate things. So I would recommend between Sleet Storm and Numb. The difference being Sleet Storm is an AoE attack and Numb is a single target attack. That makes a difference because we're wearing Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, which reduces a random skill's cooldown by a single second every time you hit with a spending skill. Sleet Storm is an AoE attack, so it's going to give you the opportunity to hit more things, but you're going to be closer and take more damage. Numb is much like Archon where it shoots a beam, so you're going to be able to sit a little bit further back, but your cooldown is going to be a lot longer. For your third Tau stack, Teleport Calamity is a good choice for an arcane proc, but you can also choose Black Hole Spellsteal, which is going to be a damage increase. Finally, Archon Combustion is going to be a fire element stack for Taos, and it's also going to be one of your main sources of damage. Magic Weapon Deflection and Energy Force Armor are going to round out our skills, and they're going to make the build just a little bit more survivable. So, just like with Ray of Frost and the difference between Sleet Storm and Numb, when we're using other skills outside of Archon, you want to make sure that you're not spamming them. In this case, I have Teleport on, so if I was constantly spamming Teleport while I was outside of Archon, I would be adding another skill to the pool that Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac would potentially lower the cooldown of. So this is going to make my overall cooldown and my return to Archon much longer. Moving on here to the passives, Paralysis is the must-have skill here because Mantled Heal won't work without it. Power Hungry is going to give you a damage increase depending on if you can max it out at your 30 yards. Unstable Anomaly is going to give you an extra life basically. This is one where you can move and you can choose something else, but it is going to make you more of a glass cannon. And Evocation is going to be contributing to your overall cooldown. The last thing we'll cover is a brief breakdown of the gameplay and give an idea of how to actually play the build. So we'll go ahead and jump into the middle of this GR85 gameplay. At this point, I have already accumulated a good amount of Archon stacks and have stacked my 4 Tau stacks before popping into Archon. Now notice I'm keeping the enemies in a tight group. You want to make sure to do this as much as possible. This is because your Archon beam will penetrate the enemy, so anything behind it adds for a potential for a proc for Mantled Heal. Once you leave Archon, you want to throw up your 2 Hydras and try to survive. During this time, you want to cast your channeling spell as much as possible for the cooldown reduction. Once your Archon is ready, make sure you have your 3 Tau stacks before popping back in. Also make sure you've refreshed your Hydras for the additional damage. Continue to hunt down the next elite pack or big mob. The last icon you want to pay attention to is your Gogok of Swiftness stack. Try to keep this as close to the maximum of 15 stacks as possible for the most cooldown reduction. From here guys, it's rinse and repeat. So let me know what you think about this build, and let me know how far you push this build or any other build down in the comments. Don't hesitate to hit that like button if this video helped you out, or hit that dislike button if you hated everything about it. I wish you guys luck during Season 10, and I'll see you in the next video.